And good morning. We'll start today in child's pose. So find a child's pose that's comfortable for you. Big toes together, knees apart. Stretch the arms out in front of you to start. Bring the forehead down. Sit the hips back. And we'll be here for a couple minutes. So if you want to start with the elbows down and the forearms down, that's fine, especially if you're feeling like it's too intense for the opening on the upper body. That's a great way to start and just come to your breath. So taking a deep breath in through the nose, back out through the nose. Deepest breath you can in through the nose. Slowly back out, control that exhale. One more like that, big breath in. Slow release on the exhale. Coming into your Ujjayi breath, keep that deep inhale in and out through the nose, up and down the back of the throat. So finding a length of the breath that you can sustain and trying to lengthen the inhale and the exhale so that they're even. And if you're way off on one, meaning one is shorter, just focus on that one. Keep trying to make it longer. If the elbows and forearms are down, see if now you're open enough to stretch the fingertips out and away from you so that the forearms lift away from the mat, elbows lift away from the mat. Hips continue to go back toward the heels. Fingers spread evenly as you press down into the whole hand. Then you'll start to lift the head up, walk the hands in toward the body, and you'll come to kneeling. So you can either, ideally, let's try a toe tuck, but I'll give you another option because I know that doesn't work for everyone. So if you can do the toe tuck, then tuck the toes underneath you, make sure the fourth and fifth toe are going forward and you sit back onto the heels. If that's bothering the feet too much, come onto the heels and you can just sit onto the tops of the feet. And if kneeling's not happening, you can put a block or something underneath the hips, or you can just come to seated meditation seat on your mat. So try one of those. Once you get there, keep the chest proud wherever you are, and then reach the right arm up, bend at the elbow, and you can just grab for that elbow. You're trying to bring the right fingertips down between the shoulder blades, and using the left hand on the elbow kind of helps you get a little deeper with that right shoulder. So with the way the body is, especially if you're kneeling in some way, the chest wants to puff out. Hug those lowest front ribs in and then look forward so the head doesn't drop down with the pressure of the right arm. It also helps you keep that right arm where it needs to be. And then reach both arms up. You'll bend the left arm, grab for the left elbow. Left fingertips reach down the back. Careful not to puff out the chest too much. Looking forward. So it's like half Gomukhasana with the arms. Reach both arms up. If you're on the knees, bring the hands down in front of you. We'll all meet in tabletop. So separate the knees to hip width distance. And you can tap the tops of the feet on the mat, especially if you did the toe tuck. That should feel pretty good. And then come to seated, where we'll all meet. And once you come to seated, turn to face the side of the mat. So spread the legs out wide, coming into a wide-legged straddle. Bring the hands back behind you, and so that you're leaning back, and now bring the soles of the feet to the mat. So then the legs are bent. And then you'll bring the knees side to side like windshield wipers. So we're just turning to face the side of the mat so that you can use the mat in the different way. And that way you'll have more of the mat underneath you. And as you go side to side with these windshield wipers, it's a really nice, gentle way to open up the hips, get some movement in them. Something to keep in mind if you're ever feeling tight in that area, it's quick and effective. So next time the knees end up over on the left, leave them there. So knees are going all the way over to the left. And then point the toes so that, well, flex the feet. And then right hand comes to the mat, maybe just right in front of you. And you start to look over this left leg. So left knee in front of the left hip, right knee outside of the right hip, 90-90. You can come up onto the fingertips so you sit up a little bit taller. And if you're leaning way over to the left, that's fine. You're trying to be more upright, but that right hip might be a little tight. So maybe it's not allowing you to. You just do the best you can. Outer left leg's pressing into the mat. Inner right leg is pressing into the mat at the same time. Lift the chest up tall. Maybe if you feel open enough, you can bring the hands together in front of the heart. Again, if it's too much on that right hip, you can keep the hands down. So you're just listening to your body and seeing where your hip opening is. Staying with your Ujjayi breath. Keep working those legs down to the mat. And then you'll bring your hands back down if they were in front of the heart. Bring the right hand back behind you so you're sitting back, and bring the knees all the way over to the right this time. So switching sides. And then once you have the knees all the way over to the right, flex the feet. Left hand comes between the legs so that you can start to bring the chest to face the right knee. And ideally, right knee in front of the right hip, left knee and outside of the left hip. Maybe you're leaning over to the right, but you're trying to be upright as you press down into the legs. Outer right leg presses down, inner left leg presses down into the mat. And then you find a lift of the chest at the same time. And that left hip is probably way lifted from the mat for most of us. We're trying to get it down. That's the goal. Doesn't have to be there or even close. And then if you're feeling pretty good here, maybe you get light in the fingertips. Maybe the hands come together in front of the heart. This option with the hands together in front of the heart is a lot easier if you're more upright. If you're leaning way over to the side, skip it. Keep working the legs and lifting the chest with the breath. And the lower left side of the torso might be speaking to you a little bit. See if you can breathe through it. Hands come back down. If you have them in front of the heart, come back so that the left hand comes back behind you and you're in that wide-legged straddle with the feet down on the mat, legs bent. And then you'll bring the knees and feet back together, come back to tabletop on all fours. And then from here, let's turn the hands all the way around. So either one hand can go back so that the fingertips point toward the knee, or you could do both hands. But if that's too much, then maybe you just do one hand. And then from here, we'll do some cat cows. On the inhale, reach the heart forward. And on the exhale, round the whole spine, chin in toward the chest. Then keep going on your own, forward and back. Finish the cycle that you're on. Coming back to a neutral spine, turn the hands back around so that they face forward. And then bring the forearms down to the mat. Step the feet back, coming into a forearm plank. So feet are hip width distance apart. You're pressing down into the forearms and the hands. Hands are spread, or fingers are spread. You're reaching forward with the chest and back with the legs. Looking down the bridge of the nose and then up a little bit onto the ground helps you get that length in the front side of the body. And then those inner thighs are engaged. So it's like you're squeezing a block between the thighs. Outer hips are hugging in toward the midline, a little lift of the belly. So as if like the navel is going up toward the sternum. And you'll slowly start to set the hips down onto the mat, tops of the feet to the mat, lie all the way down onto your stomach. So bring the arms out in a T shape. Look at that left hand. Make sure that it's straight outside of the shoulder. Sometimes it goes above or below. Right hand comes underneath the right shoulder. Turn the head so that the left side of the face is on the mat. And then you'll start to press into the right hand to roll back. So you can keep the feet stacked. Right hand's in front of you. That's kind of your brake or your gas. You could keep the feet stacked. Some of you might be comfortable stepping that right foot back. That gets into the hip a little bit more. If it bothers you, just skip it and keep the stacked feet. And really the focus of this is that left shoulder to try to open that up a little bit. If that right foot stepped behind the left leg, just stack the feet first. You'll come back onto your stomach and we'll switch sides. So left hand underneath the left shoulder, right arm reaches out. Turn the head so that you bring the right side of the face down onto the mat, and you'll start to roll back onto the right shoulder. Feet stacked to start. And then you can play with maybe stepping that left foot back, especially if it felt okay on the first side. You know, you can always come back to the feet stacked. If that left foot's step behind the right leg, stack the feet again, come back onto your stomach, and we'll do some baby cobras. So set up the hands so they're down by the lower ribs, fingertips in line with the center of the chest. And on an inhale, lift and spread the chest, tops of the feet down. Exhale, release. Inhale up, Bhujangasana, just a baby one. Exhale, release. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Come back up to hands and knees. Walk the hands forward ahead of the shoulders. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Any movement you want for this first one, whether that's pedaling out the feet or moving the hips side to side. Right leg lifts up and back, three-legged down dog. Step the right foot forward up between the hands, coming into a runner's lunge. You can have the hands up on fingertips so you get a little bit more lift in the chest, or hands on blocks. Left knee comes down to the mat. Reach the arms up. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Keep the chest nice and open as you stretch the knuckles back. Bring the hands back down to the mat. Back toes tuck, lift the back knee, left hand underneath the left shoulder, reach the right arm up for a twist. Left shoulder still down the back, still pressing out through the left heel, open up across the chest. Right hand comes down to the mat, step back to downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. Step the left foot forward up between the hands. Find that runner's lunge. Find a lift of the chest too. So maybe that means you come up onto the fingertips or you have blocks underneath the hands. Then you'll set that back knee down, reaching the arms all the way up, digging into that left heel to reach the arms up. Interlace the fingers the other way, other index finger on top, behind the back, open up across the chest. Find that lift of that right hip so you get into the psoas. Hands come back down to the mat. Back toes tucked, lift the back knee, right hand underneath the right shoulder, left arm reaches up. And try not to let that right hip drop or let that right leg become loose. Right shoulder away from the ear. Left hand comes back down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, feet forward. Step, walk, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. 2 more of those. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Last one. Inhale up, reach the heart forward. Exhale, fold all the way back down. We're coming all the way up on the inhale. Press into the feet, circle the arms out wide, rise up to standing. Hands come together at the top and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're coming all the way back up to standing. Inhale, circle the arms, press yourself back up, bring the hands together, down in front of the heart. Stick with the half Surya A's. Inhale, reach with the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold, and make sure the legs are engaged. So you should feel like the feet are really strong. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. It's almost like you're trying to separate the feet. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing, and then you should feel the power in the legs when that happens. Hands together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold. All the way back up on your inhale. Hands together, down in front of the heart. Full Surya A. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower down all the way to the mat, nice and slow. Cobra, maybe a little deeper if it's feeling good today. Pubic bone stays down no matter what. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Either take plank to get there or you can use hands and knees to get back to downward facing dog. Few breaths here. Bend the knees, look forward, feet come up between the hands. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Hands come together at the very top, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway, chaturanga, cobra or up dog. back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat, back to plank pose. Lower down halfway on the exhale. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. One more round, surrogate A. Bend the knees, looking forward, lightly bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Hands together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank. Lower down halfway. Inhale for your back bend. Shoulders down the back wherever you are. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Right leg goes up and back. Step the right foot forward all the way up between the hands. Feet hip width distance apart. We're coming up to crescent pose. Take your time. And then bend the back knee, lengthen the lower back, lifting the frontal hip bones. Work toward a straighter back leg, but keep that space in the lower back so it doesn't have to be all the way straight. Then bring the hands back down to the mat. Straighten the front leg, fold over the front leg. So modified pyramid pose. You're still high on the ball of the back foot. That left heel's lifted. Let the head and the neck go. If you feel open enough and you can skip this, you could lift the right toes on the right foot. If it's too much, just set the foot back down. Right foot comes down if you lifted the right toes. Inhale forward to a lunge. Step the left foot forward to meet the right foot. Feet side by side, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. Start to shift the weight over to the right foot and just lift the left heel up. So you still have the ball of the foot down onto the mat. As you shift the weight over to the right leg, hover the left foot away from the mat. Grab the left knee with the hands and bring it up to standing. So you're hugging that left knee in toward the chest. Standing tall on the right side. Then bring the right hand to the right or to the left knee. Left arm reaches back. So you're coming into a twist. Keep the hips going forward. Maybe you look to the side or even at that back hand, left hand. Start to bring the gaze back forward if you changed it. Reach the arms all the way up. Extend that left leg forward. Lift it as high as you can. Use that quad and then step the feet side by side. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step the left foot back. Step the right foot back, plank pose. One hand at a time, or one forearm at a time, forearm plank. Bring the feet all the way together in your forearm plank. Roll the heels over to the right. Right hand can come in a little bit. Left arm reaches up. So forearm side plank. Back to forearm plank. Feet come back to hip width distance. One hand at a time. Plank pose. Take it back to downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. Step the left foot through up between the hands. Feet hip width distance. Come up to crescent pose. Take your time. Once you get to crescent pose, bend that back knee. Find the lift of the frontal hip bone, especially that right hip. Lengthen the lower back, and then play with straightening the back leg without losing that lower back space. Keep the lunge in the front leg. Hands come back down to the mat. Straighten the front leg. Stay high on the ball of the back foot. Let the head and the neck go. Option to lift the toes on the left foot. Set that left foot back down if you lifted it. Inhale forward to a lunge. Right foot steps up to meet the left foot. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Reach the arms up. Start to shift the weight over to the left foot. Lift the right heel. So ball the foots down. That'll help you get all the energy you need in that left leg for more stability. And then hover the right foot away from the mat. Grab the knee with both hands. Bring it in toward the chest as you come up to standing. Sit bones are side by side. So notice if that right sit bone's lifting higher than the left sit bone. Right arm reaches up and back. Come into your twist. And as you reach back with that right arm, you should feel a nice opening across the chest, shoulder. Change the gaze if you're looking for more of a challenge. Gaze starts to come back forward. Reach the arms all the way up. Maybe you extend that right leg forward and lift it up as high as you can, feeling that quad start to fire. Right foot steps next to the left foot. Sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step the right foot back. Step the left foot back, plank pose. One forearm at a time, forearm plank. Maybe you go down with the other forearm if you favor one side. Bring the feet all the way together. Heels go over to the left. Left hand can come in a little bit to give more space for that shoulder. Right arm reaches up, forearm side plank. Push the mat away from you. Keep the legs strong. Forearm comes back down to the mat. You're back in forearm plank. This time, walk the feet in, lift the hips, coming into dolphin pose. You're welcome to interlace the fingers if that helps give you a little bit more space in the shoulders. Otherwise, hands down on the mat is fine. Press down into the forearms, the hands, hug the belly in. Maybe you walk the feet in a little bit more. Push the chest back. Then walk back out to forearm plank. One hand at a time, plank, down dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold. All the way up to standing, circle the arms, bring the hands together overhead and down in front of the heart. So Tadasana, mountain pose, arms down by the sides, Feet strong. So it's that same thing we were playing with before. It's like you're trying to separate the feet on the mat, like you're trying to spread the mat apart. And that'll help you feel really engaged in the legs. Then lift the lower belly, shoulders down the back, find a focal point straight in front of you, something eye level. So not up or down, but straight ahead. And then start to shift the weight over to the right leg. Grab for the left foot. So bend the left leg, reach back, see if you can grab the foot, the left foot. Right arm can reach up. And we're just going for a quad stretch here. So left knee's right underneath the left hip. You're bringing that left heel in toward the glute. That left quad should feel really long as you reach up with the chest. Then gently release the left foot back down to the mat. Come back to Tadasana. See if you can come back into it as strong as you did on the first side, separating those feet without moving them. Shift the weight over to the left foot. Stay with your drishti, your focal point. Bend the right leg, reach back, grab for the right foot. Left arm can reach up. That helps with balance. Right quad gets as long as you can get it. Gently release the right foot back down. Reach the arms all the way up, hands touch, and exhale down in front of the heart. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands come down to the mat, bend the knees. Back to plank pose, vinyasa if you want one on the way to downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up and back. Step the right foot through, up between the hands, runner's lunge. Take it up to crescent pose. Dig down into both legs, reach the arms all the way up. Find a bend in that back knee, up to you how far you want to lunge. It doesn't have to be that deep. And then work toward a straighter back leg. Hands come back down to the mat. Standing splits. Shift the weight forward to the right foot. Lift that left leg up. But lift the left leg from the inner left thigh. Keeps the left toes pointing down toward the mat as you let the head and the neck go. Step the feet together. Left foot next to the right foot. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Shift the weight over to the right foot. Lift the left heel. Grab that left knee as you hover the left foot. Bring it up to standing. So you're standing tall on the right side. This time, right hand, right hip. Grab that left foot and come back into that standing quad stretch we were playing with earlier. Right arm can reach up. Left heel's coming in. Lengthen the front side of the body. Look straight forward. Keep pressing the left foot into the left hand. Start to look forward, reach the chest forward and that left knee back. But try not to open up that left hip. Keep that left inner thigh spinning up. So dancer's pose. And it's not about how deep you go. Think about going forward and back with that left knee. Slowly make your way back up to standing, but hang on to that left foot. Just bring the knees side by side. Right, left knee goes forward. Grab that knee with the right hand, coming into the twist. So left arm reaches back. Maybe you gaze at that left hand. Gaze starts to come back forward. Take your time. Reach the arms all the way up. Extend that left leg forward. Push out through that left foot. Step the feet side by side. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Let the head and the neck go. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, step the left foot back to your runner's lunge, step the right foot back to plank pose, one forearm at a time, forearm plank. Bring the heels over to the right, so feet all the way together, forearm side plank. Left forearm comes back down to the mat. You're backing your forearm plank with the feet hip width distance apart. One hand at a time, plank pose, back to downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. Step the left foot all the way through, runner's lunge. Dig into that left heel, bring yourself up to crescent pose. Bend the back knee, find your lunge. Back to crescent pose. Hands come down to the mat. Ahead of that left foot, if you can, standing splits. Take a big step forward into that left foot as you reach the right leg up. Right inner thigh is what's lifting that right leg. Right foot next to the left foot. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Chair pose on the inhale. This time, shift the weight over to the left foot, lift the right heel, hover the right foot, hug the knee into the chest, come up to standing. Left hand, left hip. Bring that knee underneath the right hip, grab for the foot coming into your quad stretch. Left arm reaches up. Stand tall. Focal point straight in front of you. Stay with it as you start to reach forward with the chest and back with that right inner thigh. So it's a back bend. You're reaching the chest forward. You're toning the belly. That right inner thigh is reaching back. Slowly start to bring yourself back up to standing. That right knee's underneath the right hip. Then we come into the twist. Reach that right knee forward, grab it with the left hand. Right arm reaches back. Outer left hip hugs in. Start to bring the gaze forward if you're looking back. Reach the arms all the way up. Extend that right leg straight forward. Right foot next to the left foot. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step the right foot back. Left foot goes back, plank pose. One forearm at a time, forearm plank. Feet together, heels to the left, forearm side plank. And maybe that shoulder is getting a little bit more open, so the left hand doesn't need to come in as much if you were doing that before. Back to forearm plank, feet hip width distance apart. Walk the feet in, dolphin. Hug the belly in. Fingers can be interlaced if you want them to. And you keep walking the feet in until the body tells you no more. That's as far as we're going. It's a pretty deep back bend. Keep pushing the mat away from you. Then start to walk the feet back to forearm plank, shoulders over the elbows. One hand at a time, plank pose, back to downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up and back. Step the right foot all the way through. Crescent pose. Take your time. Bend the back knee, little lunge. Back up to crescent pose. Hands come down ahead of that right foot. Standing splits. Feet side by side. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose. Lift the left heel, shift the weight to the right foot. Lift the left foot, hug that left knee all the way into the chest as you come up to standing. Right hand, right hip, quad stretch. Grab that left foot, bring the left knee underneath you. Right arm reaches up. Stay looking straight forward. Dancer's pose. Reach the chest forward. Left knee goes back. Try not to open the hip. Back up to standing. Take your time with it. And the right hand will come to the left knee. Reach the left arm back. Or if you feel open enough, you could grab the outer edge of the left foot and extend the left leg forward. And it can be bent, so it doesn't need to be all the way straight. Reach the arms all the way forward and up. Extend that left leg forward, lift it. Left foot next to the right foot. Bend the knees, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down. Left foot steps back. Right foot steps back. Plank pose, down to the forearms. Feet together, heels to the right, forearm side plank. You could reach the left arm up and over if that's feeling good. Otherwise, straight up is fine too. Back to forearm plank, feet hip width distance. One hand at a time, plank pose. Down dog. Just the other side. Left leg goes up and back. Step that left foot forward. Crescent. Bend the back knee. Back up to crescent pose. Hands down to the mat. Coming into standing split. Spend time in the transition. No need to rush. So here's where you get that length in the leg that you'll need for that twist a little later. Right foot next to the left foot. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana chair pose. Reach the arms up. Right heel goes up. Right foot lifts. Grab that right knee. Bring it all the way up to standing. Left hand, left hip. Grab the right foot. Knee underneath the hip. Left arm reaches up. Start to look forward, reach forward with the chest, back with that right inner thigh. Keep the chest lifted so it's not dipping. Slowly come back to where we just were, right knee underneath the right hip. Bring that knee forward, left hand, right knee, reach the right arm back, or maybe you play with grabbing the outer edge of that right foot. Maybe extending the leg forward, you can skip it, or you can keep a bend in the right knee. Look forward, reach the arms all the way up, lift that right leg, extend it out in front of you, and then step the feet side by side. Bend the knees, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step that right foot way back, hands down. Step the left foot back. One forearm at a time, forearm plank. Feet together, heels to the left, forearm side plank. Maybe the right arm reaches up and over the ear. Back to forearm plank, coming into dolphin. Separate the feet hip width distance, press down into the mat with the forearms and the hands. Start to walk the feet in, lifting the hips as high as you can. Last back bend. So making all kinds of space in that thoracic spine right behind the chest. Keep pushing the mat away from you, gripping the mat with the forearms and the hands, hugging the belly in. And then start to walk the feet back to forearm plank. And let's take Sphinx pose. Bring the hips down to the mat, lift the chest, tops of the feet come down. So you should be able to find a little bit more space in your Sphinx pose after those dolphins and the dancer's pose. So explore that. It's like those those bottom tips of the shoulder blades are pushing the chest forward and wide. And then come all the way down onto your stomach. You can bring the arms out. Bring the arms out so like they're cactus, bend at the elbow. And then from here, bring the right side of the face down to the mat. Left knee comes out to the left, so the knee's in line with the hip. And this is just a nice hip opening to be in. It's like a half frog. We also haven't done a whole lot of external hip openings, so it should feel pretty good. And then stretch that left leg back behind you, turn the head the other way, bring the right knee out to the right, so it's right in line with the hip. Right leg goes back behind you, back to Sphinx pose, just as a transition. So this time, bring the right hand in so it points toward the left elbow. And then that right arm is going to go behind the left arm. You'll come down onto the side of the face. Left knee comes out to the left, just like we did before. This time, we're coming into a twist. That left arm reaches up and back, and you can kind of roll back. If you have enough space to extend the arm, great. If you don't, you can bend the left elbow here. Take that left arm back down to the mat. So you're rolling back onto your side. Left leg goes back behind you. Back to Sphinx as a quick transition. Left arm underneath you. Right knee out to the right in line with the hip. Start to bring the side of the face down, the left side of the face down to the mat or left side of the head. Right arm reaches up and back, and you're coming into the twist the other way. So just rolling open. And then right arm comes back over to the left. Bring that right leg back behind you, back to Sphinx pose. And then start to lie down onto your stomach. Bring the hands back by the lower ribs and take Cobra, tops of the feet down. Inhale up. Maybe you come up a little bit higher. Just keep the pubic bone down and elbows bend. And then exhale, release, child's pose. Come up to hands and knees, big toes together, and sit the hips back. So you can have the arms out in front of you, but back behind you might be nice too. So choose either one. Hands come underneath you, come to seated on the mat. So bring the feet over to one side, extend the legs forward. And then a little different. So come into a wide-legged straddle, just facing forward. And take this right leg, bring the right foot in. So it's like a wide Janu Shirshasana. Right knee still going out to the right, left knee still going out to the left. Sit up nice and tall, and then start to walk the hands straight forward. So you're folding forward right over that right foot. Start to walk the hands back in, coming back up to seated. And you'll just use the right hand to extend the right leg back out. Use the left hand to bend the left leg, grab the foot, bring it in close. It doesn't need to touch anything. If it does, great, but that's not a priority. And then sitting up tall, then start to walk the hands forward, letting the head and the neck go, closing the eyes. Walk the hands back in, making your way back up to seated. You'll move this left foot out to the left a little bit, and we're coming into Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees out wide. So we were kind of in a half version of that, and now we're coming into the full version. Grabbing onto the ankles first and sitting up as tall as you can is a really nice hip opening. You can stay here if you want, or if you want to take it deeper, grab the inner edges of the feet, open up the feet so you can see the soles of the feet and start to lean forward. Maybe the elbows come down to the legs. You're finding your version of bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Slowly bring the chest back up. Use the hands to bring the knees back together and extend one leg out and then the other leg out. Reach the arms all the way up. Fold over the legs, Paschimottanasana. So heels are reaching forward over the top of the mat and the hips are reaching back toward the back of the mat. And we'll start to bring ourselves back up to seated. Take your time. And you can close your practice with Shavasana or a seated meditation. You choose whichever one sounds like it would be better in the moment. Start to get yourself set up. Close the eyes wherever you are. Take one more inhale in through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Then drop right into your meditation or your Shavasana. Spending time in this stillness. Staying right where you are, you'll start to deepen the breath. If you're on your back in Shavasana, wiggle the fingers and the toes, stretching the arms overhead. Bending the legs, walking the feet in, and rolling over onto your right side, cradling the head and the arm. Using the hands, bringing yourself up to your meditation seat where we'll all join. First practice of the year together. There's an intention you'd like to set. Now would be a good time. Bring the hands together to seal it. Bow the head to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Happy New Year. Thanks for all of your support and participation this year. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to another year full of yoga and meditation.